Now, following the ridiculous allegations that 3 to 5 million undocumented immigrants, despite, of course, having no evidence to prove it, have voted in this election, Donald Trump is calling for a massive investigation into this supposed voter fraud. And additionally, he will be targeting people in states that voted for Hillary Clinton, mainly New York and California. But because he's convinced that people in California and New York were bussing in undocumented immigrants to vote for Hillary. Great. She couldn't even get a lot of Democrats to vote for her. You think they'd get undocumented immigrants to come and vote for her? Come on, that's ridiculous. Now, Trump's focus, according to his tweets about the issue, are basically people registered to vote in 2 states, those who are illegal immigrants, and those who are registered to vote who are dead. And he says, depending on the results, we will, quote, strengthen up voting procedures. Now, that's very important. I'll get to that point a little bit later. Now, for me, I think he should actually start his investigation, not in California or New York, but in his own cabinet. According to public records uncovered by Heat Street, Steve Bannon, chief strategist, White House chief strategist, all right, huge ally of Donald Trump, former CEO of Breitbart. Steve Bannon is registered to vote in both Florida and New York. Oh my God. He is registered to vote in 2 different states. Donald Trump, get him. Get him. I have more. Also, according to public records, Trump Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is also registered in 2 states, both California and New York. Get him, Donald. Get him. Get him. He's voter fraud. It's voter fraud. But wait, there's another. It's worse. It's worse. According to open records requests, a member of the Trump family is also registered in 2 different states. Tiffany Trump is registered in both Pennsylvania and New York. Oh my God. Your own daughter? How could she? How could she do this to you? How could she? Oh, no wonder most of the Trump family actually hates her. I don't know that for sure, but how often do you see Tiffany Trump alongside any of the other Trumps? Really? But look, okay, I'm having some fun with this, right? But really, it's actually not illegal to be registered in 2 different states. As long as you, okay, so it's not illegal to be registered, but if you try to vote in both states at the same time, that's illegal. So, let's put that out there. But being registered itself, not a problem. The truth is, people move, they register somewhere else. There are people that even die that are still on the rolls. And that's why, of course, governors of different states have the ability to purge the voter rolls every once in a while, and they actually should do so. Not in order to really disenfranchise people. That's the original intent in a way. I'll get to why it isn't actually the intent these days. But before, it's just intended to, hey, there are dead people on the rolls. We just want to get rid of them, people that moved. Let's get them off our voter rolls. Okay, that's normal. And if it's done fairly, absolutely fine. There's no problem, right? And again, the unfortunate thing about this is, since it's become politicized, we've seen non-dead people and people that are not registered in 2 different states get purged from the voter rolls anyway. Or with the interstate cross-check system, people with similar names to other people in different states get purged from these rolls. And that's a big issue. That's a really big issue. That is voter suppression. But it's different than what he's saying. Again, reality says that purges are supposed to exist to clean up the lists. Okay? Now, right-wingers will take a look at this and they'll see, a dead person on the rolls, or they'll see it registered in 2 different states, and they'll flip out. Oh my God, that person, he's registered in 2 different states. He must be voting. He must be perpetrating voter fraud. No, that's not actually true, dude. That's not true. That's as ridiculous as saying Tiffany Trump and Steve Bannon voted twice because they were registered in 2 different states. It's ridiculous on its face. And here's our president tweeting out ridiculous information. Which, by the way, here's what's funny. Earlier today, a story came out where both Tiffany Trump and Kellyanne Conway denied. No, she's not registered in 2 different states. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That didn't actually happen. That's alternative facts. Yeah, alternative facts. There are records, open records requests from Pennsylvania and New York. Those are facts. She is registered in 2 different states, and that should not be a big deal. And the reason that's a big deal is the fact that Donald Trump is calling for this investigation into supposed massive voter fraud. But see, it's not really about the fraud, and you probably already knew this, right? Now, what this is about is really it's a signal to do massive voter suppression. See, this is a dog whistle, okay? Except that Donald Trump's such a bungler that he turned what was supposed to be a dog whistle into a human whistle. We can all hear it. We know exactly what you're doing. I mean, look, he's going after states that didn't vote for him out of revenge. You know what that makes him? Joffrey. This guy is President Joffrey. Ugh. Everything has to do with revenge. Oh, you didn't vote for me? I'm going to go after you. Come on, man. Come on. This is what we have. Look, I can also guarantee that in the lead up to 2018, where there's going to be a lot of contested seats in the House and the Senate, I believe it's all the House is up for re-election, and 33 seats will be contested in the Senate. So with all that, with those stakes, you don't think there's going to be massive voter suppression? That is going to try to use this as an excuse, voter fraud, without any sort of evidence to back it up? And in fact, the evidence that we do have shows that voter fraud is not widespread. There aren't millions of illegals voting. No. What you have is that in-person voter fraud, which is what these voter ID laws and voter suppression is actually going to try to prevent, try to stop. It's actually incredibly rare. In fact, they did a study under George W. Bush, and this was from the Justice Department, and they basically searched for evidence of voter fraud. Now, what did they find? Well, in the first 3 years of the program, 26 people were convicted or pled guilty to illegal registration or voting. Now, 26 people. Whew. 26 people, man. That sounds like a lot, until you put it into context. This is out of 197,056,035 votes cast in the 2 federal elections held during that period. And they found 26. Now, let me put that in numbered form. The rate of voter fraud found in this investigation was 0.000000132%. Massive voter fraud, everybody. Massive voter. We better do some purges. We better do some voter ID, voter suppression. Our electoral system is in danger with the 0.000000132% of people voting illegally. Come on, man. Facts, man. Those are facts, not alternative facts. Those are facts. And those were, again, done by a completely Republican administration. They can look at it all they want and find nothing or next to nothing because it's not a problem, because it doesn't exist. Okay? Not on a wide enough scale to swing an election. Yes, there are instances of voter fraud, but again, it is so tiny. And you want to talk about electoral fraud? Well, that's different. We do have instances of electoral fraud. There's ballot stuffing. There's changing registrations. There's, voter purges. All that stuff we have seen. That's electoral fraud. Voter fraud, especially in-person voter fraud, not a thing. Not a thing. Look, this is an actual fact. They're coming for your voting rights. Now, just like they have in the states, and just like they did in the Supreme Court when they gutted the VRA, they're coming for your rights. But see, now the stakes are larger. Now that they have control of the entire federal government, they will use that power to deny you of your right to vote, to do massive voter suppression. This is their plan, because they want to stay in power. And they're going to do what they can. They're going to ram through any sort of voter legislation that they can in order to keep you home so that they can stay in power. This is grotesque and completely undemocratic. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.